Hello, the co-creative love weavers. He's airy fairy flowery on this very special magical day on the 2nd 2022. I mean, there's a lot of tooth magic here. It's also known in the Celtic calendar for Imbolc. And also the goddess Bridget, who brings the light and the first spring signs of longer days, of longer sun. And so I switched on a candle for us. And also the white sage incense to open our circle as above as below. All the spirits from all directions, I invite you in to be with us and to serve the highest good for all of us. And so be it. Blagadaru, many blessings. Yeah, and because I like weaving, which is called the Wyrding Way, like the title of my book, I like to weave in story, like today, the fairy tale of the Snow White and Rosebud, because it's full of symbolism. Yeah, how the cyclical seasons are all woven in, how the bear marries Snow White, who can also be referred to Bridget, who arises from the winter, from the snow, but also brings like the first signs of spring. She opens herself up to be married to the sun, and the bear is actually represented as the bringer of the sun. Yeah, and I also prepared a few slides for us to speak more about the background of those festivities today, like Imbolc and Candlemass. Welcome. Just a minute. I will do it differently by sharing the screen. Yes, so I welcome you again to today's special Imbolc Candlemas Day, and of inviting in Bridget, who brings in the lights. Yeah, so 40 days after Christmas, Bridget brings the first awakening of nature. Even with the rise of Christianity, she still didn't lose on her popularity and is become known as Saint Bridget, here also seen on the picture, bringing the light, which stands for the sun of the spring, because in Celtic calendar, Imbolc is the first day of spring. So from the 1st to the 2nd February, it's being celebrated. And the bear awakes from his winter nap around this time. He is the sun, and Bridget, his bride. This day is also known in North America as Groundhog Day, time between times. Oh. Maybe you know a very funny film, Groundhog Day. in Christianity, this day is known as Candlemas, Maria Candlemas. It goes back to Jewish tradition, where it is said the newborn are like also in the cave and supported by staying only with their mothers for 40 days. And so Maria, when she birthed Jesus, she also stayed away 40 days from churches and was only then allowed to go into the church. And that's what symbolizes the inauguration of candles today on the 2nd of February. But as the tradition goes, when they're being inaugurated and with the start of longer days, they're actually not being switched on, those candles. They're being inaugurated and rest until St. Michael Day on the 29th of September. And in Germany, there's a saying like, on the 2nd of the 2nd, the candles are being inaugurated, but rest and being switched on St. Michael's Day on the 29th of September. So a bit more of this background. Yeah, so who is Bridget? Long before the Christians venerated Bridget as Saint Brigida of Kildare, she was considered the daughter of the mother goddess of the Celts. Her name comes from the Celtic Breosahit, which loosely translated means flaming or shining arrow. She is a dazzling figure in Celtic mythology. Bridget rules over fire and keeps it alive. Is revered as the patron goddess of blacksmithing, healers, poets, and as the goddess of wisdom. She is the protector of families, women, and infants. The goddess Bridget was worshipped by the Celts on Imbolc, Celtic lunar festival. So that's why it's also celebrated on the new moon, which we have at the moment, new moon in Aquarius. The night from the 1st to the 2nd of February in the Celtic calendar, this day is considered the beginning of spring, because the goddess Bridget drives away winter and frost. In fact, at the beginning of February, the days become noticeably longer, the sun rises earlier, and the plant world slowly awakens from its winter dormancy, thanks to Bridget. So here, the artist is unknown, but it beautifully shows like she awakens from her sleep in the cave, in mother's cave, Mother Earth's cave, and slowly shows above the soil surface and awakens. She awakens, and the spring awakens with her. So welcome, Bridget. Today on the 2nd of the 2nd, bringing spring, the first signs of spring to us. And here is a long tradition of crafting a Bridget Cross, in dedication to her. I also made one here with like some straw here I found in my balcony from last summer's flowers. It's very simple to make. There are loads of instructions on the free internet. Just go on YouTube, that's what I did, and type in Bridget Cross, and there are many instructions how you can do it. And you can then hang it up on the door as a protection against fire. So the St. Bridget's Cross is a well-known symbol that is also widely used in modern Ireland. It consists of grasses that are intertwined in a special way. They are blessed on St. Bridget's Day, the 1st of February, during a church service and then hang up at home. It protects the house from fire. The St. Bridget Cross goes back to another legend. A pagan tribal chief is said to have asked for Brigida on his deathbed. He hoped to find peace of mind with the nun's wise words. Bridget came and began to comfort and reassure him with her words. Meanwhile, she picked up grasses and stalks lying on the ground and tied them into a cross. She explained the meaning of the cross to the dying man, after which he was so touched that he converted to Christianity before he died. So that's why, even with the rise of Christianity, she still been very highly respected and honored until today. Saint Bridget. And the etymology of Imbolc. The name Imbolc comes from the Old Irish imp folk, all round washing, and thus identifies it as a purification festival. Oil milk is the name for the first milking of the sheep in spring. The festival was celebrated beginning on the eve on the night of 1st of February, and on that day, and is still celebrated today in rural areas of Ireland as St. Bridget's Day. La Faile Bride. I hope I translated right in Irish. I cannot speak Irish. So altogether, it's a purification, all-round washing festival. So like with the rise of the spring, which in Gregorian calendar comes a bit later, but we also then start cleaning things, like we can take a bath, clearing out our wardrobes, like anything which purifies us and our environment is more than welcome today. In the Roman times, it's known as Februar. So in this month, also in Roman tradition, the whole month stands for washing and cleaning. And it's also known for the birch juice here, like you can see here on the right, like in Siberia, also in Kazakhstan, where I'm from, it's also very well known, this tradition to get the birch water, which is very, very healthy and tastes delicious. And also refers to the rune Berkana. Here, the Berkana rune also stands for the birch tree, bringing in the spring, the awakening of feminine powers. That's why if you turn it like this, you can see it like two breasts. It's a very feminine, like rune birthing the new. Maybe you also like to get some birch water. And of course, February is also known, especially in Germany, it's very big, carnival time. And it also refers to the goddess Bersta or Persta. She's got a dual nature. Like as Bersta, she's portrayed as like this dark witch. She is also the protectress of the 12 holy Christmas nights, and is also known for the wild ride between the worlds, like the 12 holy nights between the years, where she rides with many of her wild friends between the worlds. And so also carnival times where people dress up and just go crazy. I like to say it like weird. I like the title of my book. yeah, just also play around, going on a wild hunt, dress up, and yeah, go crazy and weird is more than welcome during the carnival time. And Persta, which goes even longer in tradition, it's actually translated as the bright one. So that's why she has also got this very angelic presence, like the bright one, and also the witch one. So she's all of it. Like she's writing between the words. She can also represent and contain all energy. So she's all powerful. In Germany, the carnival is called Fastnacht, and it doesn't come from fasten, which means going on purification, not eating for a certain amount of time. This is not what it refers to, fasten. Fasen actually has got the root word gedeihen, which means thriving, like going back to this purification, cleaning, and then thriving. And for that, first we go crazy and let loose all what no longer serves us. And that's what the carnival is also for. Yeah, and the darker nature of the Bersta goddess. She's also going wild to release everything what no longer serves us. Yeah, this is also known for Freya or Frigg and the primroses, like I read in the book. This is a fantastic book about fairy tales and plants, the goddess and plants by Wolf-Dieter Storl. Here I've got only the German version, but you can type it in, the goddess and her plants, I think. There's a lot of background information, deep symbolism. Yeah, I continuously love to learn new things. And here he also describes that it also refers to Freya and Frigg. She is the wife of Odin, and she's equally sharing the throne with Odin. And she's known to be a weaver of fates. That's why you see her here in the picture as weaving. She's a seeress, all-knowing creature, and she's also said to hold the key for humanity, like the threads, like a weaver, like the three Norns, who are very dear to my heart and have woven through me when I wrote my book, The Wyrding Way. I have got a very strong inclination to weavers. So also Freya or Frigg. Sometimes people say that this is the same persona, but she's definitely patroness of weaving. And there's also an old story, like Wolf-Dieter Storl describes here, that she is holding the key to primroses. And primroses in Germany, they are called Schlüsselblumen, which really translates keys to heaven. Keys to heaven and the beginning of the spring. There is like a story from old Germany, which is about their woman and the primrose, which translates key flower, where it is described that a white woman was holding the key to this through those flowers to bring in like the spring. But then with the rise of Christianity, this role was taken over and passed on to Petrus, who is since then holding the key to yeah, to be a guide between the worlds. I also like to read about Imbolc from the V Moon 20 for this year, 2022. What is written about Imbolc here. Fragile stirrings at the threshold of spring, the great snaking energy of life has hibernated, shed a skin. Its strike-ready kinetic energy is slowly uncoiling. We leave our caves for early signs of growth, a clear sighting of the crescent moon, first spring flowers spiking last year's leaves, new colors to live by as we turn toward fresh beginnings. Fortune and will, growth and well, we invoke Bridget of the bright knowledge, triple goddess of midwifery, smithcraft and healing, to help us stay grounded and find our balance between savoring and protecting the earth. Holy fire, sacred hearth, keeping a perpetual flame on gentle burn, we see her holding a wild swan onto her heart, Lorica, not armor, but prayer to keep her open to the flow of creative grace as we wait for our next thread of molten imagination to ignite. Our visions get a heady momentum as we hammer them in copper, fire them in heats that could raise the roof off, pound them on the rocks of our foremothers' hopes for the land and children. So here she's also described as the triple goddess, like you will see in this fairy tale of Snow White and Rosebud. There's also this triple goddess working. So you may know this fairy tale. Maybe you like to listen again. Maybe you will discover new symbolism and interpretations that you didn't know before. Yeah, it's an old German fairy tale from the Brothers Grimm's, and is known as the most positive of all fairy tales because it shows the harmony of nature. So let's start. Like somewhere in the deep, deep woods, there was a mother living with her two daughters, Snow White and Rose Red. And her house was beautifully surrounded by these rose bushes with red and white roses. And it's again the triple goddess, like the mother, the old crone. Like here in my magical doll, she has also got 3 guises. That was my Baba Yaga, where I can dress her up as the crone in black. And then Rose Red is of course like presenting like the Samar and the mother figure in red. And Snow White, she is like the Virgin, like at the crossroads of the winter where everything is still white. She's bringing the spring, and then she's white. And also here weaving all cycles, all natural cycles into existence. If you're interested to make a magical toy like that, I offer like co-creative circles, which you can do with me. I will write a link underneath this video if you like to make something like that with me. So the mother represents like this dark goddess, the crone, And the rose red represents the summer, the mother, and Snow White, like the virgin, yeah, the maiden. And they were really living there in the middle of the woods, very much in harmony with cycles in nature. And Snow White and Rose Red were going in the woods every day and picking herbs and everything what they needed, they were provided for. And they even slept sometimes in the woods. And it happened one day that they fell asleep in the name close to like to a mountain edge, to a cliff, where they would have maybe died from. But as it happens, there was like an angel protecting them and sitting with them, so they survived and everything was well. And during the winter, there was a bear coming to join them, and he knocked on the door. Please let me in. So cold outside. Can I stay with you? And because they were so in harmony with nature, and especially the crone mother, she said, of course, dear bear, come and stay with us in this cold winter time. We also have got like what's the name of those animals? Ziege. Like we have a dove living with us, and the female version of an Aries, a goat living with us. So you're also very welcome. Come close to our oven and you can stay with us. And so the bear was very comfortable during the whole winter, staying with the two women, with the two young girls and their mother, and everyone was protected for. And then when the first spring arrived, it was probably around this time, beginning of February, he said, yeah, so now it's time for me to leave you, go outside in the woods, start hunting. Now the sun is shining longer and it's time for me to leave you, but I'm sure we will meet again. And so he left to the woods. And the girls continued to go outside into the woods, getting some fish and some herbs for the mother. And the mother was always telling them, what one cannot provide you for, the other one has got. So you always like co-create for each other. And that's how they lived by, like in very harmoniously. And that's actually a deep symbolism of living in harmony with each other, because we all have got different talents, different gifts, and instead of competing with each other, but one doesn't have, the other one can provide for. Yeah, and so they lived very harmoniously. And one day on the day out in the woods, they met a dwarf, and his beard was stuck in the wood, and he was really angry, shouting, "Oh, help me, help me!" And so the girls tried to help him, but nothing helped. So Snow White got like a scissor out and had to cut off his beard. And instead of being grateful, he was really angry. Oh no, what did you do with my beard, you silly girls? And then he disappeared. And then a little bit later, they heard his voice again. And this time he tried to get out the fish he was fishing, but his beard got stuck again. And so they had to free him again by cutting off his beard again. And he got even more angry. He said, that unbelievable, yeah, what you do to me. And he was so ungrateful and ran away. And then a little bit later on, they've seen him again. And he was almost taken off with an eagle who wanted to eat him and fly away with him. And again, they had to free him. And he was again very, very ungrateful. And then later on, they were seeing this dwarf, that he was actually having lots of treasures, lots of gold, and he was like holding it around him. But then the bear came, and he actually killed the dwarf. Yeah. And the girls have observed them and got a little bit scared and wanted to run away. But then the bear said, please, girls, it's me. I'm your friend, stay here. And then all of a sudden he descended into this beautiful, beautiful prince. And he was saying them, this dwarf, he put a spell on me and a curse on me. He has stolen all my treasures and put this spell on me to live as a bear until the day when I get rid of him. And that's what happened. And after he turned into this prince, he fell in love with Snow White and they got married. So this is the symbolism of the bear, who also stands for the bringer of sun. In Celtic tradition, he's also known as Bilianos. And he marries like the spring, like when the sun is stronger, and Snow White represents the spring, that she receives the sun, and this is the sacred marriage. While Rose Red, she married the brother of the prince. And then later on in the summer, because with the rose red, red roses, they flourish in summer, so she represents the summer and the sacred marriage of the summer. And this is again where we can see the cyclical nature, the harmony of nature, and like the wise mother always said, if one doesn't have, the other one completes, and there is forever the cyclical nature. Yeah, and that's the deep symbolism of this fairy tale, like the triple goddess, also in harmony with nature, living with the dove and the goats, bringing in the bear, like in her womb of the winter, giving like rescue for the bear who can stay with them during the winter. And they are so pure, those girls, that I can even see the angel protecting them. And then Snow White marrying the sun, the bear, and the Rose Red, the summer. And the dwarf, he actually stands for our ego, that sometimes wants to hoard treasures and wants to have much more, as it serves him well, and is being ungrateful. So this is the deep symbolism of the dwarf. So this is, I think, a very fitting fairy tale for today, for Imbolc, for Imbolc initiation. And maybe you also want to make a Bridget Cross. I will put it on my door as well. And maybe you've got your own revelations, because I love fairy tales and wise stories, to put them in the space for our own inclinations, revelations. And if you want to go deeper with me, because I love, like, my book, The Wyrding Way, which means weaving. I like to weave story. I like to weave different crafts, because the heart and the hands and the mind are very deeply connected. So I think from my own experience, the deepest revelations come when we actually consciously start weaving. That's why I've woven this destiny towel, and my shamanic dress keeps unfolding. I like to make magical dolls and paint, like anything where we consciously take things into our hands. We become connected to our souls and source, and that's when we start to see more magic and synchronicities and wonders. So if you like to go deeper, you can get a book excerpt from the Wyrding Way. I will put the links underneath the video, also upload it on my YouTube channel, but there are many more other fairy tales and wise stories. I've also created like a Wyrding Way school, like from 3 offers to 6 weeks offers based on the 6 chapters of my book, The Wyrding Way. And also an invitation to go really deep for 1 year with me in co-creation, where you also want maybe to weave like a destiny towel or dress, or create your own sacred symbols with me. Yeah, and to find out what questions you have got, you can also book a free destiny call with me. All those links I put underneath the video, and I hope you enjoy this fairy tale and this presentation, and get in touch with me. I always love to go deeper. This is for me co-creative weaving, where we get together and hold space for what is weaving through us at the moment. So I send you many, many blessings on this sacred Imbolc Candlemass day, and with strong energies of the new moon in Aquarius and the beginning of the Chinese water tiger year. Wow, so much potency. No wonder also so many magical truths today. So many blessings. Blagadaru.